Welcome back to Creative Perspectives. If you're back, I'm so excited. Just remember, Creative Perspectives is just for entertainment purposes only. What? But I enjoy saying what I say. So it's my channel is just designed for me to talk, so and say what I feel like saying in that moment. And if we connect and relate, in that way, then I guess I'll see more viewers. If not, then I guess I won't. That's the way I look at it. So I pulled out 3 scriptures. Now, mind you, I am not a preacher by no means. And I don't plan to be. I think they have a special job, and that requires special energy. And my hat goes off to preachers, and I do respect them with all of my heart. Okay, the first, and also when I pull up scriptures and I need them quickly, because I do the keyword searches. So I go to BibleStudyTools.com, and that's where I get it. And then sometimes I'll do the King James Version. And then that's where I have to read the whole entire chapter and just pick out the sections, So because I'm not like, a pastor, or, I'm not one of those that could remember a lot of the word. So I have to go with what I need, and then I'll go look it up and then try to study what I need, So that's how I do it. So Ephesians chapter 4, verses 31 and 32, it says, "Get rid of all bitterness, rage, and anger, brawling, and slander, along with every form of malice. Be kind and compassionate to one another. Forgive each other, just as Christ, God, forgave you." Matthew 6:14 through 15. "For if you forgive other people when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive others for their sins, your Father will not forgive your sins." And lastly, which is the coolest one I found, is Proverbs 17 and 9. Chapter 17, verse 9. It says, "Whoever would foster love covers over an offense, but whoever repeats the matter separates close friends." So the way I like to do it is pretty much, if somebody wounds you in any way, shape, or form, and remember that's based on your interpretation, because everybody is so different from the next person based on their environment, how they were raised, their economic and their living conditions, their caretakers, the people that were over them, whether it was mom, grandma, grandfather, aunt, uncle, cousin, brother, sister, so it all depends on so many different factors, which brings it up. Just like, when I went from Washington to Houston, there's a big difference in this type of music. So I was like, oh God, that sounds so offensive. Oh my God, the little girls are running around here popping it and stuff like that, and it, like grown-ups. So that was a different feel from up there, because some of the music feels like it's censored, and they'll let some cuss words go along, come out, but not a lot. But when you come here, it's like you get the full Monty, and you got to be prepared. So it's like, I actually left a lounge before, just getting me a salad. And I left it because it was too rough. It was too rough for my ears. I couldn't do it. So I mostly stick with Latin dancing anyway, because that's my passion. I love Latin dancing. To me, it's more like a workout and a strategy while you're dancing versus like the hip hop, boop, boop, boop. So I just love Latin dancing. Back to forgiveness and the strategy. So what I found has worked for me, and remember, everybody's different, is address the issue first. Let a person know, hey, I felt offended when that happened, and then give them time to respond to what your offense, what you felt offended you. In that moment, just pay attention, because a person will let you know whether or not they have respect for you right there. They could deflect, make it seem like you're making a big deal out of nothing, which is a form of disrespecting your feelings and showing you that they are not willing to acknowledge your feelings in the first place, which, how long is that going to go on? Then the next thing is seeing if you need to work on reapproaching it in a different way, because obviously, people grow up differently. So their way of handling issues might be just a little different. Sometimes you might even need counseling as a couple or even as an individual, to figure out how to communicate certain things to certain types of people, because the counselor can learn through you about your partner and then give you strategies on how to communicate more effectively with your partner. So when it comes to forgiveness, though, if a person comes to you, you tell them the offense based on how you feel and how you're structured as a person. Then they're going to come back. You got to allow them, because they're an individual too, to let you know what their position is with what you've shared. If it feels like it's respectful, humble, if a person's honest enough to be like, well, I don't know how to really deal with that emotion, I don't know, then much respect, because I'd rather have somebody tell me they don't know, but they're going to try to work on it. Or and then that kind of lets you know right there if you need to let them go, or if you could still work with that person. Also, I'm a big fan of threes. Give people 3 chances. Some people, they have to warm up to you, especially if they don't know you, and they're trying to get to know you as well. So you have to, mistakes are going to occur, things are going to happen. You'll figure out some differences in their approach, and then your approach, and then the way you're raised versus the way they're raised. And then it's just like a lot of communication that needs to take place to figure that out, and a lot of observation as well. Then after, a situation arises like that, address it respectfully. Timing is definitely a factor. If somebody's straight from work and they've had a stressed out day, and they have a stressful job, then that might not be the best time. It might be like, okay, babe, give them a couple of minutes, or ask. The best thing I've learned is, if you need to know something, just ask. It's the best thing in this world, because the only person I can really tell you what's offensive is that person. And then you got to work as a team to figure it out, whether you're married or single. You got to interact with someone. So bring up the issue, see how they respond to that issue. If it feels respectful, like your opinions, everything's valued in that moment, and the actions match and are in alignment with that, then now you got to decide what happens next. Do we move on from that person? Do we try to work through the problem with that person? Can we, depending on what the offense is, can you heal the past with that person? Would you be willing to do that? Can you do that? Because I know when I got cheated on, I was like, I'm out. Like that, I just can't do it. I'm sorry. That was a deal breaker going in. It doesn't change my character or my moral standing or the values that I hold. So it's like when you start testing other people's values and stuff like that, and you think it might be a good time if they've fallen in love or if they love you, it doesn't change anything for some people. Now some other people might be a lot different than me. But my thing is, no, I gotta go. Bye. See you. It doesn't matter who you are. So just not everybody's designed the same. So, but some people can sit there and say, okay, how are we gonna work through this? Can we work through this? And I just think if it's depending on if it's small or if it's huge, I believe you can find strategies to work through it. And some things require counseling. Some things really do. Especially something when it's a matter of the heart, that causes grave impact to you. Then you might need some outside influence to kind of help, and you definitely want unbiased and an open mind to guide you through that, especially like a professional. Is the situation repairable? One thing I've learned though too is we have our own set of standards, and sometimes when it's challenged, you might have to think about whether or not to move forward expeditiously. And the last thing in life, like I've talked about in my other video, was what can you learn from it? Because everything is a lesson and a blessing. And the main thing is to learn the lessons. What? And then see what you got out of that. Because just because something may not work out, after you forgive and you decide to walk off and let that person go, like that movie or that song, should I stay or should I go? You may not like that person, you might not want to stay. So if you choose not to stay, or whether you stay, what did you learn out of it? What did you gain out of it? If somebody comes to you humbly, especially if it's a cheating situation, Lord Jesus, I just don't even want to talk about that part, because that's it's a devastation to anybody. But but if it's something that catastrophic, then I would just say you have to really look deep inside yourself to know whether or not this is a forgivable thing, and then can you work through it? And then if you do need to work through it, do you need some time apart to be able to go through a healing process on your own and then reintegrate with your partner? Or if you could sit there and then look at the person every day, and then my thing is, if I'm betrayed, I can't even look at the person, so that's like a dig every way. That it's just it's going to be time to go, and I've tried to play that game before where it's like, try to stay because you're married. And all I did was waste time, because I knew in my heart that I tried to pray, I tried to go to church, everything. It just, it was not me. It was just not me. And I could forgive, but I just couldn't stay in the situation. So, so everybody's different though. Some people like to work through it. I know people who've been married and they've had one indiscretion or two, and they stayed married 40, 50 years. And they chose to work through it and to keep going and to keep working on that part of their marriage to, make sure, that. And I met some where they're so bitter. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to kill each other. You might as well let that one go if you got to be that disappointed. Trying to murder him. You did that way back in 1962. Well, why did you stay with him if you're going to hurt him all the time? but everybody's different, so it was cute. My thing is, whenever I see a couple that's been married 50, 60 years, it's just a beautiful thing. I don't care if they're acting like little kids at the table arguing, or if they're just in bliss, or if they're just sitting there staring and not even talking to each other. It's like I think they got a telepathic thing going on when you stay married that long, where you can just sit, don't say anything, and you're both actually communicating. It's the prettiest thing I've seen, like two souls brought together by God, and they could communicate. It's like your partner when you finish sentences, so. But anyway, the strategy that I like to see is, should I stay or should I go? And the way I like to look at any strategy in life, especially in forgiveness, is like a chess piece. We played a game of chess. Life is chess. You have your opponent on the opposite side, and then they're making their own moves, and these are people we encounter. So while they're over there making their own move, we have our side, our side of the game. We're moving our chess pieces, and every time we move, it's either going to show rewards or consequences to our decision. So if I go left, I forgot the horse. The horse goes, I think it goes straight and then sideways, right? So it's like it goes, but you can move your pieces back too. So it's like, should I need to retract that and then re-examine this whole thing and then take a different type of approach, or move to a different part of the game, and then to not get my piece taken off the board, or to become somebody's karma, so I can take their piece, it might be their karma, they might be my karma, so, or like my lesson, or blessing, and that might be their lesson or their blessing, so that's like a cute little metaphor I just thought about the chess piece. But anyway, I think that's it. I think we went through it. And that's it, the strategy of how we move forward, how we move on. Like, you got to be able to decide, do they stay, should they go? What lessons are you going to take from that? which boundaries are you going to set up? Are you going to allow them to stay in your life? And if they do, what is that going to look like for you? And what is that going to look like for them? But one thing I learned is communication is a good thing, you know. But making sure the respect is there, that's definitely key, because you can be flawed all day long, but if somebody has no respect for you, then that's just, I don't know, it's just not something I think that's a good thing. So anyway, God bless you. I hope I did something, because I was all over the place. I actually got tired while I was talking, and then I'm really sleepy. But forgiveness is key. Now I could tell you, okay, so I'll tell you one thing. Okay, so I was in Iraq, and I'm not saying any names, you know, I saw this guy as like a bully, right? And one day I just got pissed, you know, because like, enough is enough. So, you know, he was sitting down, and I went, you know, to the back of the ice box, because, you know, it's so hot out there. We have to keep our water frozen. So I went and grabbed water, and because I know I can't throw worth of crap, I stood back, and I was like, I took my M16 and put it towards the back, because I was like, because as soon as I launch this bottle at his face, he's gonna get up and he's gonna stomp me down. And during that time, I was like 100, maybe 124 pounds. So I was, you know, tiny little thing. But anyway, I was like, and I was calculating when I walked over. I was like, am I too far? Or I'm not far enough? So anyway, I was just so angry, and I heard the word B. So when I heard the B, when I went by, that's what set me off. So, you know, I got close to him. I strapped my weapon, you know, to the back, because I knew as soon as I launch it, he's gonna come after me, and you know, we just gotta see how it goes. But I was praying, like, Lord, please let these other soldiers get to him before he gets to me, because he's about to get up and kick my butt so bad. So anyway, I launched the thing forward and hit him pretty bad in his jaw, because although I can't throw, far as like far, I could throw, but I was super strong. I was strong too, you know. So I hurt him, and I didn't know that, because as soon as I did it, he got up out, you know, off the curb, and then, you know, obviously other soldiers pulled him, and then I kept going, and then next thing I know, you know, they had us line up, and I saw that actually hurt him, you know, and you know, we were, you know, all at parade rest, and I was looking over at him, he was looking over at me, and I was looking straight, and it's almost as if they knew I did it, but nobody said anything. And I didn't say anything, because I was looking at him like, you gonna give me up? Because, you know, as soon as this happens, you know, I might get in trouble. I'll be cleaning the floors forever. We're having an Article 15 or something crazy. So so we all walked away, and then he came to me 3 weeks or just later in Iraq. Time is just it's crazy. So so he came to my workspace, and I was inside my container working, and I was in there by myself. So I was like, and there's only one way in the door and one way out, and then, you know, you have your AC unit in the back, and then I have my computer, and then you know, working in a stockyard. So man, he was large enough to cover the door. So I was like, oh God, I don't have any backup, I can't fight. He's gonna kick my ass. He's about to whoop me up, you know. So anyway, he says, you know, I won't say my last name, but he pretty much called my name, and I was like, you know, yeah, and he was like, I wasn't calling you a B. I said you were acting like a B. So you know how you get that little strength, and you like, well, you shouldn't have said that. That's not cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I tell him you're a bully. You know, I tell him what I thought and what I felt and how I felt, and we put the resolve. We resolved that issue that day. But you know, it's just the power of forgiveness. But I think, you know, anytime you're in a war zone, any type of thing where you just stressed out, you ready to go home, you have issues, it's like brothers and sisters, and then you get angry, And then after the anger subsides, then you kind of got to let the situation go. So I think that's where we stood. But we let it go. And yeah. So I don't know why I shared that, but that was like when I was thinking of forgiveness, that just came to my mind. And I was like, I remember that incident, and that was that. So no bad blood on both sides, so that was cool. I'm done. I'm tired, exhausted. I feel that way. Okay. Have a great, I think it's Labor Day today. Yep, it's Labor Day. Oh, my son confirmed. All right, have a great Labor Day weekend, or Labor Day, no longer the weekend. And stay blessed. And if you have any strategies, just share it. I like people. I like different perspectives. That's why I called it Perspectives.